Lucas of the Always Believe House. Oh, today we're going to learn about vertex form of a parabola. Ho, 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 ho. This will be on your formula chart, so you don't have to memorize it. But at the top of the page, let's write this down. F of x equals a parentheses x minus h squared plus k. Okay, this is vertex form. The h and k will be the vertex. Okay, remember x equal h is the axis of symmetry, and the k is going to be your max or min, right? Okay, so the h and the k are really important numbers. They're the vertex. The x-coordinate of the vertex is going to be your axis of symmetry, and the y-coordinate of the vertex is either going to be at the top or the bottom of the graph. That's going to be your max or min, okay? And also remember, the h is going to be opposite. When you put h in the equation, it's opposite. When you take it out, you flip the sign. So when you put it in, you flip the sign. When you take it out, they'll flip the sign. The a is the steepness of the curve. It will either vertical stretch. If it's a vertical stretch, you're going to stretch it this way and the curve's going to get narrower or steeper. Or it's a vertical compress. Okay? If you vertically compress it, if you smash it, the curve gets wider, okay? So if A is smaller than 1, the curve gets wider. If A is more than 1, the curve gets steeper, okay? You're going to see that when we graph the lines, okay? Lastly, if A is negative, the vertex is flipped across the x-axis. Or you could say it's reflected across the x-axis, right? If the A is negative, the parabola opens down, you have a max. If the A is positive, it opens up, you have a min, okay? So we're going to go through this, and we've got to identify a lot of stuff here. The first thing we're going to do is identify the direction of the opening. We're going to do that by putting up or down in front of the number. So notice on number 1, there's a negative. Write down, down. This parabola will open down. If we go to number 3, there's nothing in front of the parentheses, right? It's positive, so we're going to write down up. Okay? So before you even graph it, you should write down or up, okay? The next thing we're going to do is the max or min, okay? That will come from the vertex, okay? And then after we graph it, we're going to identify the x-intercepts, the y-intercepts, write down the domain and the range. This is a lot of stuff for each equation, okay? You've got to have a calculator to do this. There's no other way. So let's go number 1. Number 1, this is my h, this is my k. So my vertex, the opposite of negative 1 will be a positive 1. The opposite, or the 4, will be my y. This opens down, so I'm going to have a max. The max is going to equal to 4. And let's identify the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 1. Now then we need to graph it. Well, we could do the domain. The domain on these graphs will always be r, all real numbers, okay? And we'll get to the range after we graph, okay? So now then let's graph it. So we're going to go to the calculator. I'm going to get rid of my table. Then I'm going to hit delete, delete, delete. Now then, we're going to type this in as is. So negative x minus 1 squared plus 4. So I'm going to type in the negative, parentheses, x minus 1, close parentheses, squared. Did I do that right? X minus 1, close parentheses, squared, plus 4. I need to type in the tab first. So type in tab to get the equation. Jiminy crickets. Negative parentheses, not negative x. Negative parentheses, x minus 1, make sure you don't use the negative sign, close the parentheses, squared, plus 4. Plus 4. So negative x minus 1, close parentheses, squared, plus 4. The negative is going to flip it, and then the 1 comma 4. This will have a vertex over 1 up 4. So let's graph it. And we're going to hit enter. What happened to the graph? Jiminy crickets. Tab. I need to do it over again. I'm sorry. negative parentheses, I hit the wrong thing there, x minus 1, close parentheses squared, plus 4, hit enter, and now then we have our graph, right? Now then hit Control T, and let's get some ordered pairs. So Control T, because we're going to have to graph this. Okay, so 1 comma 4 is our ordered pair, and then notice we could get some more ordered pairs, okay? Let me go down here and get 1 comma 4 in the middle. Okay, so these are the other ordered pairs we're going to use. We're going to use negative 1, 0. We can just graph those on the paper, right? So I'm going to graph 1 comma 4. 1 comma 4 is right here, and then it goes at 3, and then at 0, 0, right? So the parabola will look like this, won't it? Got it? Now then, we need to identify the y-intercept. Right here is my y-intercept, and it's 3. So you're going to write that on your paper. This and this are my zeros, and their zeros are negative 1 and 3. And then the domain and the range. The domain will always be all real numbers, but now I can get my range, can I? The range is going to be here down in it. Remember, your range is going to be this number, right? So is it going to be bigger than 4 or less than 4? The range is going to be less than 4, right? Y less than or equal to 4. So I've identified all of that information right here. It's a lot of information you got to write down for every problem, okay? So remember, we need the y-intercept, we need the zeros, you need your range, your domain, write down the axis of symmetry, and the max. You can do that straight from the vertex, okay? A lot of information you're learning. We're going to keep going through this, okay? Let's go to number 3. This graph opens up, right? Okay, and now let's write down the vertex. The vertex is going to be, since it opens up, it's going to do this. It's going to have a bottom in it, or a min, right? The vertex, this is my h, this is my k. The vertex will be 4 comma negative 4. So my axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 4. It's going to have, since it opens up, it's going to have a min of negative 4. And now then let's graph it so we can get all the other information. So I'm going to go to that, go to the calculator, Control T, hit delete, 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 hit enter, hit tab, and then I need to graph x minus 4 squared minus 4. So parentheses, x minus 4, close parentheses, squared, minus 4 again. I think it's minus 4, minus 4, minus 4. This takes me a little bit longer because I'm having to go back and forth, okay? So I have this, hit enter. This parabola opens up. Let's hit Control T and get our ordered pairs. So Control T. And I want to center the vertex, which is at 4 comma 4, right? Control T. Okay, so I'm going to go down to 4, and there's my vertex, right? Those are the ordered pairs I want to graph. So 2 comma 0, 3 negative 3, 4 negative 4. So let's graph those. So I'm going to go to 4 negative 4 right here, and then negative 3, and then the zeros are here and here. The parabola is going to do this. Now then, let's get our y-intercept, because the y-intercept isn't on this graph. So go back and hit Control T again, or we can just, hold on, we can get on the table. The table needs to be x0, right? So at x equals 0, y is 12 in it. That 12 is the y-intercept in it. Okay? Also notice on this we can't get to 12, right? So over here, just write down y-intercept is 12. The zeros are here and here. So my zeros are 1 and 4. A lot of information you need to know. This is my min. And remember, the vertex is going to, or the range, the domain will always be all real numbers, and the range is going to be the min right here in it. It's going to be y greater than or equal to negative 4. If it opens up, it's going to be greater than. If it opens down, it will be less than. That's going to happen every time. Opens down, you're going to have less than. Opens up, you're going to have greater than, okay? Down less than, up greater than for the range. That's what we need to know for each problem, okay? That's a lot of information you're writing down. The more you do this, the quicker you get. Number 5, the first thing we're going to do is write down up or down. Notice there's no negative in front of the parentheses, so this will open up. If it opens up, we're going to have a min, aren't we? Okay, so my vertex is h and k. So the opposite of negative 1 is positive 1. The opposite, and then negative 4. So that's my vertex. My axis of symmetry will be x equals 1. My min will be negative 4 because it's going to open up. Okay, now then let's graph it. So we're going to do x minus 1 squared minus 4. So I'm going to hit Control T. Then delete, delete, delete. Hit Enter. Tab. And then it is, I need to go x minus 1 minus 4. So parentheses, x minus 1, close parentheses, squared, minus 4. Minus 1 minus 4, did I do it right? Yes, I did. Hit Enter. Okay, I have my parabola. I'm going to hit Control T, aren't I? So Control T. And I'm going to go down to the 1, negative 4 was my vertex, right? So I'm going to go, Okay, those are the ordered pairs I need, don't I? So I need to go up one more right here. So negative 1, 0. Notice this is my 0. This is going to be my y-intercept in it. 0, negative 3, right? So I'm going to go back to here. So the vertex was at over 1, down 4. Then I'm going to have negative 3, and 0, 0. And then this parabola does this, doesn't it? Okay, now then, this is my y-intercept. My y-intercept's negative 3. This is my vertex. And it's at the bottom. We have a min. My zeros are negative 1 and 3. And then the domain will always be all real numbers. And my range is going to be greater than. It's going up. Y greater than or equal to this number right here, correct? Ho, 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 ho. F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. Vertex form is pretty cool because it gives you the vertex. Then you just graph it, okay? So let's keep going. Notice on this one, there is a number in front of the parentheses. This parabola will look different, right? Okay? So, there's a negative here. This opens down, which means we're going to have a max. The parabola still has a vertex of negative 1, 2. This right here is my axis of symmetry, which will be x equal negative 1. The 2 will be my max. Okay, and let's graph the vertex. The vertex is going to be at negative 1, 2, which is right here. Now then we're going to go to the graph and graph the graph. So I'm going to hit Control T, get rid of the graph, delete, delete, delete. That gets away my graph. Hit the tab button, and then it's negative 2, 1, and 2. So negative 2, parentheses, x plus 2, or is it x minus 2? X plus 1, close parentheses, squared, and then is it plus 2? Plus 2. Plus 2. So negative 2, parentheses, x plus 1 squared, plus 2, hit Enter. We have our graph. Notice it opens down. The vertex is at negative 1, 2. Also notice it's thinner ended. The parabola was vertically stretched with it. That's huge, okay? The bigger you make A, the steeper and narrower the parabola gets. It's vertically stretched. So let's hit Control T and get our table. Okay, and we want negative 1. We want that one in the middle, don't we? So these are the ordered pairs we need. Negative 3, negative 6, negative 2, 0. So let's go over here. Negative 3, negative 6, negative 2, 0. And it's going to be symmetrical in it. Okay, so the parabola is going to look something like this. Notice it has 0, 0 in it, doesn't it? So this right here would be my y-intercept, which is 0, and it's also one of my zeros in it. So my 0 is going to end up being negative 2 and 0, right? Now then, let's write domain. The domain on a graph is always all real numbers. The range is going to be less than, and it's going to be less than our max, which is 2. Okay, piece of cake. Ho, 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 ho. If you go back to the graph, 0, 0 is an ordered period. Okay, so that not only is the y-intercept, it's also a 0. Now then, let's go to the next one, okay? Fun, fun, fun. I'm going to do one more for you. Let's do one with a fraction, and then you can do the rest. This is just calculator work in it. So on number 12, the 1/2 is positive in it. This means it opens up. Okay, if it opens up, I'm going to have a min or not. This is my h and k, so my vertex will be -4, -2. The axis of symmetry is going to be x equal -4. The -2 will be my minimum. Okay, now then I'm going to graph it. So let's graph -4, -2. -4, -2 is right here. Okay, now then let's go to the calculator. So I'm going to hit delete, delete, delete. One more time. I need to get rid of the table first. Control T. Then hit delete, delete, delete. That's going to let me delete the graph. Then hit tab. And now then let's type this in. It has 1/2 to begin with, doesn't it? So control divide, 1 down 2. You can also put 0.5 if you wanted to. And then parentheses. And then it was x plus 4 and minus 2. So x plus 4, close parentheses squared, minus 2. So 1/2 x plus 4 minus 2, 1/2 x plus 4 minus 2. Make sure you check it before you graph it so you know it's right. Now then, when we graph this graph, it's going to be wider. It's going to be vertically smashed or vertically compressed. So we hit enter and notice it's wider in it. The smaller you make A, the wider and wider it gets. The closer you get to 0, the flatter the curve gets, okay? Now then, we're going to hit Control T to get our order pairs. And we want, what was it, -4, 2 to be in the middle, right? So we're going to scroll up to the -4. And right here, those are our order pairs. So at -6 at 0 and at -2 at 0, right? So we're going to go back to here. -6 was a 0 and -2 was a 0. And where was the y-intercept? So let's go down to 0. At 0, the y-intercept's 6 in it. So our y-intercept is going to be 6. This graph doesn't go up to 6, does it? But over here, just write down y-intercept is 6. So this graph is going to do something like this in it. Okay? Now then, this right here and this right here are our zeros. So the zeros are what? -6, -2. The domain will always be all real numbers. The range is going to be y. It's opening up, so greater than or equal to, and our minimum is -2. Okay? So I've just answered all those problems. Make sure you're using the calculator. This is tedious. You're learning a lot of vocab. This is huge right here. You're going to be given a graph and be asked, what's the axis of symmetry? What's the vertex? What's the range? You have to know all of that from that graph. Very important. You're getting that in there, okay? So have a wonderful, wonderful day. Remember, you are amazing. You are created to do wonderful things, and you are awesome.